Michael Olise is trending at #1 on all social media platforms you can think about. Why? It's not because he's joined Manchester United. No. Why? Because he has been left out of the French national team for the Euros. Isn't that shocking? But let me ask you something. Who needs Michael Olise when you've got Amad Diallo? That's the conversation we are going to be having. My name is Webb. Subscribe to the United Hotspot, like and share this video, and of course, give me your take on this. Does Manchester United really need to sort of break the bank? We're a broke team currently when it comes to transfers. Do we need to break the bank to try and sign a player who cannot even make it to the Euro 2024 squad? Anyway, no disrespect to Olise, 10 goals, 5 assists in 18 games, and all forms of goals. Beautiful player. Can play as a 10, play on the left, play on the right. He's just a beauty to watch. But there must be something about Olise that managers don't find exciting. My name is Webb. Let's get into it now. We know that Manchester United has for a long time, I think, and ever since it was confirmed that INEOS were coming to take over the football operations, it has been clear one of the first players that INEOS have wanted to sign has always been Michael Olise, this Crystal Palace boy who flies around like a bird, just enjoying himself, plays football like it's a game. And you even wonder how on earth was he let go of teams like Arsenal, like Chelsea, like Manchester City, for him to end up in Reading and later Crystal Palace. It shows you that he has been a proper developer. I mean, he has been through a good youth systems because he started at Arsenal, he went to Chelsea, went to Manchester City, Reading, and from there that he went to Crystal Palace. And he's only 22. So you can imagine his best, not even at the prime age of a footballer, of an outfield player. His prime should be around 25, 26, really. So he has got a few years. Perhaps his best is ahead of him. So in terms of his talent, I don't think there are so many people who will question how talented Michael Olise is. I'm thinking of a player who was injured for so many games for Crystal Palace, comes back and is scoring goals for fun. In 18 games, scored 10 goals and assisted 5 times. Now, that's something you don't just talk about, just take for granted. But I'm surprised, first of all, that he's not in Didier Deschamps' French squad, because you think he would give them a dimension that's different. But if you dig back in the history of Michael Olise, he doesn't seem to be most most trusted character. And I mean, I'm not saying this because this is the case. I mean, the show has got his tactics that have won him World Cup titles, that have made him, I think, have the best national team in the past so many years. I'm saying it could be a tactical reason that he doesn't see him fit into his team, but there could be certain disquiets about Michael Olise's personality that no one can question his talent, but the issues might be about his personality, and that's why perhaps even teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, as a young boy, released him, because it can't be that the talent we are seeing now just grew or developed somewhere. I think it has always been there. It has always been seen. That's why he was able to go from those teams as a kid, from such big team to big team. But there could be something about him, about his character off the pitch, and these are things that managers want to avoid around their teams. Again, I'm not saying it is the case. I'm just saying there could be. Dig around Olise, and you will know what I'm talking about. But getting proper into the conversation we are having, if you've got Amad Diallo, do you then need to sign to break the bank, pay 60 or 80 million pounds for Michael Olise? If you're Manchester United in this case where we are, not guaranteed to have so much money to spend in the transfers, you have so many positions you need to fill. Now it has emerged that again, like we said it here, the left back position is going to be top priority this summer for INEOS. We know that we need to replace Anthony Martial. We need a striker. We do know that we need a centre back, at least one. They should be two probably, but at least one. We do know that, very importantly, we've got to sign a holding midfielder. Unless people are now thinking because Amrabat had 2 good games, then it's done. Amrabat should be playing there as the starter. But you think about the other positions we need to sort, and I'm thinking, I honestly think if it's order of importance, of priorities, I think a winger should be the last on the priorities, because we've got Amad Diallo, and not to rule out Jadon Sancho, and Mason Greenwood. All these are Man United players. So why on earth would we be breaking the bank and spending all that money on Michael Olise? Think about it. I think INEOS are beginning to get in their to put their heads right now and beginning to see that actually the issues at Manchester United might not be entirely players. Certain positions have assorted. They just need to sort certain players. That the issues, yes, there are players who need to leave, but it doesn't mean from within or from close to within they don't have the players to come out there and of course lift United up to where it's supposed to be in certain positions especially. So my honest take is, I mean, look at Amad and how he plays. I've been following him, and this has been my prayer for the longest time, that we need to see Amad and judge him as a starter. It's difficult to judge a player based on a few cameos, and that's why it was always difficult for us to judge Sofiane Amrabat, because it was just coming on 10 minutes, 8 minutes, 3 minutes, 15 minutes. You know, the times he started games was playing out of positions, out of position. So it was always difficult for Amrabat to be judged. But after the two games that he started, we have an idea of what Amrabat is like. Same thing with Amad. He came on as a substitute. Of course, we saw what he can do. But certain you need a player as a star. That's why we can judge Scott McTominay and say, you know what, Scott is not good enough as a starter. That's the fact, because we've seen him start several games, but you can struggle to recall one game Scott started and gave you good impact. But for the games he has come off the bench, we know the impact. So then we can define him and say he's a bench player or an impact substitute if there's anything like that. So with Amad, after seeing him start the games he has started, it's clear that Amad Diallo is another generational talent. First of all, he's different. He has got the kind of talent you don't see from everyone around him. He's a different breed of skill. The goal he scored, that goal he scored against Newcastle United, talk to anyone who has a little clue about football. That's not a goal you gamble into. It takes a special level of technique and skill for you to be able to pull off such a beautiful goal. The technique in that goal takes a special talent, a special skill, a special gift to pull off at that level, at any level anyway. There is no mediocre player who can score such a goal. I can tell you that that goal cannot be scored by any mediocre player. It's not a gamble. You don't gamble into such a goal. That's technique, sheer class and technique to score such a beauty of a goal. Now, that for me, coupled with the things we've seen Amad do, shows you that in this boy we've got a gem. And remember, we paid nearly 30 something million pounds for Amad. He has a goal to Atalanta. Now, you don't spend that money. Years ago, was it 2018 when we signed him from Atalanta? So much money. This is the time we should be now beginning to enjoy the benefits. This is the time we should be beginning to enjoy the benefits. Now, we cannot be now at a time when Amad Diallo is showing us what he can do. We are now thinking of bringing on Michael Olise and then perhaps frustrate him into wanting to leave the club. I think that would be extremely wrong for us to do. I think that would be a mistake for Manchester United to do. We signed him in 2021, not 2018, from Atalanta. I needed to correct that. It feels like he has been there longer anyway. But the development that Amad has had for a player who signed for Manchester United for nearly 40 million euros, that's nearly 30 million pounds. That's a talent you want to give a chance to fail. Now, has Amad been given a chance to fail? No. Do we think he can fail? No. We saw what he did when he was loaned to Sunderland. At Sunderland, it was a whole different problem. Maybe at Rangers, it wasn't the most exciting loan spell for him. But at Sunderland, Sunderland perhaps wanted, if they could have bought him and perhaps even, made a monument out of him. Just the few times he was there, the few games he played there, 37 games he played there on loan. This boy is a gem, and he can do everything that we know Michael Olise can do, Amad can do. He just needs to be given the trust and the time to be able to pull that off. So why then are we then thinking of spending money to frustrate him into wanting to leave to go to West Ham? Because Amad can easily go into West Ham, Aston Villa, all these other clubs, Newcastle, and he will be a starter. Amad is a starter in any club. except maybe Man City. And even at Arsenal, I think Amad can start games with Mikel Arteta. He can find ways of playing him as consistent part of the rotation. Amad is that good in terms of his skill and potential. We cannot be thinking of frustrating him with a Michael Olise, who might have something about him that managers don't really find extremely exciting. We may not know. And you see, as INEOS, part of the things they want to correct going forward, we need to be careful how we bring in players and which players we bring in, not just based on their skill, but their mentality and personality should be a big part of whether they come to Manchester United or not. So we don't want to bring in problems because we saw a skillful player come, bring excited about them, bring them in, and again they take us back or keep us where we are. We need players who have got the right mentality. Amad really has shown he has had the right mentality. Even when he has not been happy, not playing, he has been training best, but Eric Ten Hag opting to bench him time and again, but goes to the press conferences and says himself, Amad is training extremely well, but he's not giving him a chance to play. But the boy has still been humble. I think for me, this is the personality, the character of a player who has got to be playing at Man United. Now that the chances have come, we just need to trust him more, give him a better contract. He is earning about £28,000 per week. He should be earning way more than that because in him, Kobe Maino, Alejandro Garnacho, who needs to improve, and Rasmus Højlund, add there Bruno, Manchester United's future is built. The foundation is there. It's a firm foundation for Manchester United to build on. So don't disorganize this with Michael Olise. So for me, in all honesty, my answer to the question I've posed there, does Manchester United need Olise? No. He's good. It's not about his skill. He's maybe slightly better now than Amad, but I think Amad has got the potential to do everything Olise can do. So we need to give him a chance and trust him. That's what I think. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Subscribe, and I'll catch you later.